What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope everybody's doing okay. If you're going to drink, don't drive. Go in an Uber and drink responsibly. Please. Your family needs you. Okay, so today I'm going to touch on a subject that I don't normally touch on, but I think it's very fascinating, and I've been interested in ancient civilizations my entire life, really, but just as a hobby. I've always been really curious about the those pyramids in Egypt, and I want to draw some parallels between what's happening in the Nazca region versus what happened throughout history in Egypt, because mainstream archaeology completely hijacked the narrative of what happened in the pyramids and how they were built and who built them and all of that. According to mainstream archaeology over there, these pyramids were built by the Egyptian dynasty, by humans through prosaic means. That's the main narrative. There's been like a number of different theories of how they were built, from some form of transportation that used sort of rivers or canals to other types of transportation that we still don't get how they were built. That's the reality, because it's like giant megalithic stones that were found miles and miles away from the site, and they were transported there through a weird and unknown mean. That's the official narrative. And when Mr. Graham Hancock appeared on the scene back in the 90s, he was trying to explore this through a different lens. And he wrote a number of books that talk about ancient civilizations that had the means to build stuff that we still don't understand right now. And he goes deep into it. And he believed that the same type of building is known across the world and across time, and there are many similarities to it. The thing is that mainstream archaeology in Egypt is handled by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Zahi Hawass, who is like the main man when it comes to Egyptology, according to mainstream archaeology. But they've always been at odds, Graham Hancock and him. And this man was just on Joe Rogan about 2 days ago. And the way the conversation went was that Joe seemed really patient with him. This guy was only focused on saying that his theories were the ones that worked. Just to give you a few examples, he said basically that pretty much he discovered everything in Egypt. Only Egyptologists are the ones who have an open mind. All the answers that Joe Rogan kept asking him about, he wanted just to promote his book and tell him it's in the book, buy the book. He offered pictures, and he never delivered them to prove many of the points that Joe Rogan was talking about. And he also claims that most archaeology books on the pyramids are wrong unless written by him and another gentleman named Mark Leonard. And these are his words. So I'm going to show you the final 2 minutes of his conversation with Joe, because this goes to show how indoctrinated mainstream archaeology is and how these people operate and how they think. So I'm going to show it to you, and just so you hear. Joe is trying to talk to this guy and ask him about whether he believes that extraterrestrial life is possible in the universe, in the vast universe. And listen to what he says and listen to the exchange.
Many people in America believe that you believe in aliens. When I talk to them that I'm coming to see you,
That I believe in aliens?
they do.
Well, I'm not opposed to the idea of aliens existing. There's hundreds of.
Did you hear that laughter? That's the exact same type of attitude that everybody who is even curious about the topic, it's not necessarily that they believe in aliens or not, just curious about the topic and that believe that there's something to this to investigate, that's the type of attitude that we get in return. And look at Joe's face right there. He's not happy.
Hundreds of billions of galaxies in the known universe, each with hundreds of billions of stars. The idea that we're uniquely alone. You don't think there's anything out there? Nothing. So
you see that? That also seems like Neil deGrasse Tyson responding to that too. And that's something that we face in Latin America as well with the Nazca beings. Because people who try to debunk the mummies, they always go to the established organizations. They go, yeah, so the government of Peru have always said that they're not real, therefore they're not real. When they don't, what they don't tell you is that the Peruvian Ministry of Culture has been hijacking the case for many years now, and they've specifically planted misinformation and fake bodies to the whole case so they can debunk it and not give it any credibility. Fortunately, right now, there was a legal process that is now in the final stages, and the Ministry of Culture and the Peruvian government are starting to acknowledge that the larger bodies need to be investigated because they are real. And there's a lot of scientific data that you can go back to Gonzalo Chavez's tridactyls.org, and you can see it for yourself. Don't believe what I'm telling you. Look at the data. Look at the DICOM files. Look at the tomographies. Look at the x-rays, and just decide for yourself. That's what I ask. I'm not telling you these are aliens. I'm not telling you these came from settled reticuli. I'm not telling you any of that. I'm just telling you these bodies, according to the data, the raw data, they seem to be real and they need to be investigated. That's as far as I go. And whoever like speaks about these topics as a case closed kind of scenario, when they're like the most mysterious topics you could ever talk about, I think those people are wrong. Respectfully. Let's see this exchange again.
So you don't believe in ancient civilizations capable
No.
of advanced
But
construction.
Joe,
You don't believe in aliens.
Joe, I
You
am
don't believe in carbon dating.
I am a scientist.
There it is. That's the smugness that is prevalent in mainstream science, mainstream archaeology, mainstream everything. Because they know that they have the main narrative and the power and the institutions and the grants by the balls. That's where that comes from, that attitude, that look right there. And that's what we're fighting against, honestly. And I'm gonna bring him back around for you guys because I think that there's a nice side of this story that we also need to touch on when it comes to Dr. Zahi Hawass, because he has a history with Graham Hancock that has evolved throughout the years. But this was a really bad look for him.
Oh.
If you believe in something, write an article.
I
Then I
understand.
can read. But don't give me a theory.
But the theory of planet.
This is like, honestly, write an article that is peer reviewed, and people keep going back to that point of peer review. Peer review is important. Peer review these, peer review that. If peer review wasn't as corrupt as it's become over the years, because I'm not the one talking about it, other scientists are talking about it. Dr. Alex Gomez Marin, who is my good friend, who's a physicist, he wrote an entire article about that I'm going to leave in the description, talking about how corrupt the peer review process has become. Eric Weinstein has been talking about how the scientists who hold the power in the peer review process have like a little boys club where they are the ones who decide who gets to peer review a certain article about certain topic. They are the ones who pick the peer review people. It's not just random. It may happen randomly in other cultures, like in Latin America. My father is a plastic surgeon. He did peer review a number of times. And the people that peer reviewed his work, they were chosen because of their achievements, not because they were part of some corrupt kind of little boys club. Because that's what peer review has become over the years. In many cases, not all, in many cases. So this is a bullshit argument. I'm sorry, but it is. If the peer review process wasn't as corrupted as it's become right now, I would accept it. But sadly, that is not the case. There needs to be a renovation of the entire peer review process in order to have it as a real argument when you're talking about something, because it's corrupt. I'm sorry, but it is.
Planets containing
No,
intelligent
no,
life
no,
is
no, that's not true. I have been debating Graham Hancock and Robert Bafal and John Anthony West, and I told them from the beginning, your theory will go with the wind.
right, but we're not talking about that theory. We're talking about aliens being possible.
No way.
No alien, just us.
This is
only
the
us in the
national
whole
project.
universe.
If you believe in
Us
God,
in the whole universe, only us.
If you believe in God, you will do miracles. The Egyptian
Okay.
believed in the afterlife, and they made this great civilization.
I'm not saying aliens made it. I'm saying it's very possible there's something else out there in the
Okay.
world.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Joe was like, oh man, I can't win this one. Yeah, so that's what we're fighting against. And unfortunately, it's an everyday struggle for people who deal with topics like these, like ancient civilizations, the Nazca mummies, UFOs, cryptids, all of these topics. They always have something from the established academia or the mainstream sciences that are just like, nope, we're not even looking at the data because that's not real. When there's a lot of data, I would say there's even more data for the stuff that people can't explain than for the stuff that has already been explained. And even some of this stuff that has already been explained is wrong. Think about that. So I'm bringing this back around because Graham Hancock has a love and hate relationship with Dr. Hawass. They have tried to debate. There was this one time where they tried to, and this is how it went. There was a scheduled debate for them to have in El Cairo. Check it out.
This man is a thief, and I don't want to talk to him. And I don't want his name to be mentioned.
In academics, there is
He's not academic. He is nothing.
In academic world, we do not do ad hominem arguments. We do not debate the land.
Listen,
we debate the matter.
the matter is debated really and it's closed. It is debated closed. It's closed in Chicago by August Lerner, by everyone.
Then how you don't want to hear anything like that?
Exactly. I don't want to hear it.
Shame on you.
No, please don't say this to me.
It is true. Because
Don't say this word to me. It's a shame on you, not on me.
to have an open discussion about all that.
Don't talk to me. Please go away from me.
Wow.
Shame on you. Why you say shame on me? Why?
You will be able to open these.
I don't want to. This man did bad things. I don't want to use them.
This man.
And I am going to call. I'm going to let this man know that this country because he's a cock. Not my own business.
We should be able to.
Please, I don't want to talk to you. Please, leave me alone. Don't talk.
So basically, you're saying
Why someone talk about a killing of someone else? Why? Why is talking about a killing that has been closed? Why have to open the theory again?
The theory is not closed.
It is closed.
No, it's not.
Everywhere. And I don't know why you talk about it. It's not, it's his fucking game. Why do you talk about it? You have to present your own theory, not to present the
It
theory.
is not closed, Zahi.
Okay, I closed
And
it.
I am
I'm all that
presenting,
you wanted to close it.
I am presenting my own
Okay,
theory.
I'm not going to attend this.
I have
I'm
written
going to
yours
give
with
my
Mr.
talk.
Bobby.
I'm not going to attend this.
Even before a word is exchanged, one image, and Mr. Hawass leaves the room. Shame. I'm here. I'm willing to debate. I do believe this is a great shame for Egyptology.
But what he does not want to talk about the law.
Well, I'm sorry, Gawal is central to the alternative argument.
Yeah.
We cannot have a discussion without Gawal.
Dr. Zahi Hawass was reacting to this image from Robert Babal. He returned to give his talk, but did not engage in the planned debate. So this is what we're dealing with. And this is the main issue here. And it happens in every field and every that it has already an established mainstream argument or theory. People who are in control of that are always afraid that somebody else comes and just leaves their theory behind. And I get that there's a lot of fear of becoming completely unknown throughout history after your theory was the law, basically, for decades even. And I'm just going to tell you a little story about this, but I do want to highlight that Mr. Graham Hancock was actually years later after that happened, he met again with Dr. Zahi Hawass. And you can see how calm he was and collected he was every single moment when he was talking to Hawass. And this is the type of man that Graham Hancock is. This is what he said, and this happened last year on June 12th. He said, last week in Cairo, Dr. Zahi Hawass graciously accepted my apology for my unkind words at him at a public event in 2015. We still disagree about many things, but our disagreements in future will be friendly, respectful, and constructive. The attached after dinner photo says it all. This is what we want, people. If you disagree on something, that's fine. But you can't just go out and just shit on people and telling them that case is closed and that, that's not the way to do things. You gotta talk, you gotta converse, but if you already have your mind made up about something that is inexplicable or that it may have other explanations than the one that you accept, you are already losing when you enter a debate or a discussion about said topic. And we should follow the example of Graham Hancock because the guy is a gentleman. He kept his composure there, and he still was the one who apologized, even though he wasn't the one disrespecting anybody, really. And what really pains me, though, is that in that interview Joe Rogan did with Hawass, that image of Graham Hancock that I showed you guys was completely stained because we got to see firsthand the type of attitude that this man still has and the smugness because he thinks that he is the absolute truth. And unfortunately, this is also something we're dealing with in ufology. People who think their truth is the only one. I already told you guys what happened when I used that thumbnail that says God exists from Matthew Brown. There was a lot of vitriol directed at me because I used that thumbnail. I am not promoting any type of religion. I am not promoting any type of cult, which is something that was said to me in other comments. The only reason I talked about this and the racism that was directed towards me is because I wanted to explain the reason I was erasing some comments, because I erase those types of comments that promote negativity because I don't want to just leave it there and get more people triggered who like the show and who agree with the way that I present things. It just feeds on the negativity, and I don't want that. So that's why I addressed it. Just explain to the people who don't understand why I do. That's the reason. And you can see in that whole conversation with Joe, which I'm going to leave in the description, it was a hard watch. I did watch it, but it was really painful. And this man was only just smoking cigars, promoting his book. And just so you know, I already had an interview like this. I'm not going to name names or anything, but this person was, when I asked a question about a controversy regarding their work, this person, instead of giving me facts that I was requesting, this person decided to promote their work instead of giving me an answer. And it's the same type of situation we have here. And it is one of the biggest problems in phenomenology in general that we have to fight against. Established mainstream science or academia that doesn't want to accept the fact that there's stuff out there that they can't explain. And the fact that they can't use the scientific method to explain it is the reason they deny it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that we haven't found a way to explain it fully. But the data is overwhelming. Let me know what you think in the comments about this, about my main proposal here. What do you think should be done in these types of conversations? Should we follow the example of Graham Hancock? Should we just not listen to these people? Let me know in the comments. And what do you think overall about this interview Joe did with Dr. Hawass? It was painful for me to watch. Was it for you? Let me know. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, comment, and please subscribe. It really doesn't cost you anything, and it is what helps us the most to keep growing in this community. It really just costs you a few seconds to do so. Thank you. You can share it anywhere also. But also, if you want to help us keep the lights on and if you want to support the channel in any other way, there's a bunch of links down there. You can take your pick. You can become a member. You can support us on KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always very appreciated. So thank you for your support. And that's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive and keep it cool. Bye.